to be ready and to help her in her last month of pregnancy.
You were in Los Angeles?
I was in Los Angeles when this occurred. I was never notified by the police, and I'm not sure that I don't thank God that I was not notified first, okay, because I could have been. They did know that Sharon's father was stationed in the Presidio in San Francisco, so they reached him first.
Where did Mr. Bugliosi, the prosecutor, get this information for Helter Skelter? Did he talk to you about where you were?
Never. Never.
They invent these things?
Sure. Where else do they come from?
It sells books?
Well, the fact that when he says, I was there visiting, it makes it sound like, you know, we're separated and I just went to see him.
Or that he was in the military and you reside in Los Angeles.
Exactly.
The night of the murders.
Yes.
You have two other daughters, Debra and Patty.
Yes.
Debra had called Sharon at about 6 to 6:30 at night. She had asked Sharon if she could come with a friend and stay all night. Sharon, being late in her pregnancy, thought, maybe not tonight, I'm a little tired.
And she was.
You came very close to possibly losing two daughters that night.
I know.
You ever think about that?
Well, you see, it was Friday, and she had been home, well, about 3 weeks. We had watched that moonshot with her.
July 20th?
Yeah, July 20th. She had just got home, okay, from Europe. And her father as well, and that was the last time he saw her, by the way.
Whose house did you watch that film clip?
At that house.
At that house?
Yeah.
You're quite familiar with that residence then?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Been there a lot?
Yes.
Knew it as well as Tex Watson did?
Well, now, I'm not going to say that, okay, knew it as well as he did, because my suspicions are that he had been up there many times before.
He says that's true.
Is that right?
He does.
Now, you know, Bill, since I have not read any of the books, that I'm talking off of my feelings, and you're talking from knowledge, or what they have said.
Well, I didn't have a daughter brutally murdered up there, so I can read the books.
That's right.
And I've read probably 19 to 20 of those. And I like it that you haven't read it, because I can get your reaction to some of the things that were said in the books. Going back to Debra.
Yes.
Has this bothered her at all? I mean, she could have been a victim. She could have been a guest there that night. They had asked to stay and sleep up in the loft. Tex Watson says they went up in the loft to see if anybody was there. She could have been a victim.
Oh, absolutely. But, you know, we could have all been there that night. Because since she, oh yes, since she had only been home for 2.5, 3 weeks, okay, we would go up there on Friday because the children were out of school.
What ages were your children?
And why we were not there is beyond me.
What ages were your children at that time?
At that time, 10 and 16.
And Sharon was 26.
Yes.
How about Debra? How'd she handle this? She ever think about it?
Oh, I know they think about it. You know, you can tell how it has affected their lives as adults. Very protective of the children. You know, and they do not allow this to be shown to me because they figure that I am all consumed with enough grief.
Patty the same way?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
There were a lot of rumors at the time of the murder. I'm curious how you handled that emotionally. For instance, many of the books talk about possible sex orgies, bondage, drugs. A lot of rumors in the press. Even in Helter Skelter, they talk about that. How did you as a mother deal with that? Even the coroner, Noguchi, suggested marijuana.
I'm glad you said Noguchi.
Well, he did. He suggested marijuana remains next to Sharon's bed.
Yes.
But Roman Polanski says no, she didn't use any drugs, at least during that time, because she was very concerned about being pregnant. How does a mother handle this? Go back 21 years. How'd you handle these kind of rumors?
Rumors.
Innuendo.
Not very well, okay? What had gone before, now remember that Sharon had only been home 2.5, 3 weeks at the most, okay? Whatever was going on at that house prior to her coming home bothered her a great deal.
Are you kidding?
No, it bothered her.
Roman says that Sharon was either too dumb or too naive to know what Abigail Folger and Wojciech were doing.
Naive. Absolutely. Naive, yes. But she wasn't so naive that night that she called Roman and wanted these people out of the house.
That's not in any of the books, my dear.
Well, it may not be in the books, but that's what happened.
She knew the drugs that were going on with them.
And so does Roman know that. Roman knows that he couldn't get home quick enough for her to be settled and ready to have that baby. Oh, but let's don't forget Noguchi and the marijuana residue that was at the side of her bed. Now, who did the autopsy, Bill?
Noguchi requested to do Sharon's.
And he did do Sharon's
yes, he
autopsy.
Did. And found nothing.
And he found absolutely not even nicotine.
But in all honesty, didn't Jay Sebring use? And he was on the bed that time in conversation with Sharon when Susan Atkins went in and told them to come into the living room. So is it possible that Jay Sebring had used, and they knew very well that it was remains residual from him?
It's possible. All I can say, truthfully, is that Sharon was absolutely clean. Noguchi, who wrote the book, what was the name of the book?
Corner to the Stars?
Corner to the Stars, knew that, and yet he intimated that she was smoking pot while 8.5 months pregnant. And yet he knew different. That burns me.
That burns you?
Yeah, that burns me.
Let me give you some adjectives to describe Sharon, your daughter.
Okay.
Sweet?
Yes.
Innocent?
Yes.
Nice?
Yes.
Naive?
Right.
Any others?
Yes, but you see, with you saying them, it's okay. If I say them, I'm just prejudiced, Bill, okay?
Sure.
She was very naive. Up until she was 21, she was a ward of the courts.
Who was?
Sharon was.
Why?
Because you had to be a ward of the courts if you were making movies under contract before you were 21.